चलेगा. I started with the recording also, so you
अच्छा
guys go how you want. Yeah.
ठीक है। आज मैं भी
Yeah.
जल्दी जा सकती हूँ पल्लवी जी। मैं थोड़ा जल्दी शायद लीव कर जाऊँ।
तो हम लोग 8 o'clock पे स्टॉप कर देंगे ना, 7:40 पे रीड कर
हाँ
लेंगे।
बेटर होगा क्योंकि मुझे भी आज 8 o'clock को एक सेशन अटेंड करना है. तो बेटर होगा कि हम थोड़ा जल्दी स्टॉप कर
तो ये
देंगे.
ध्यान रखेंगे सब लोग थोड़ा थोड़ा ही पढ़ेंगे, मतलब जैसे है ना,
हाँ ठीक है।
सबको चांस मिल जाए, चारों पांचों को, आपको, सुमन जी को, अनिल जी को, मानसी जी को।
हाँ.
उसके बाद से सब लोग।
ठीक.
35 या 40 तक स्टॉप कर देंगे ना रीडिंग?
हाँ 40 तक, 7:40।
हाँ ठीक है।
Should we start?
यस यस, अनिल जी प्लीज गो अहेड।
शेयर नहीं किया अनिल जी, अभी आपने स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हुई।
हाँ, just uh, good morning, everyone. So yesterday we completed the reading up to page 80, and as we know, the Santiago, the shepherd boy, is continuing his journey for his dream. So we just he just as day by day he is moving his journey. So he realized that he started his journey with the ships. Then he sold those ships. Then when he sold those ships, then he started working with a merchant, the glass merchant, and then he leave that job also. Now just he is going ahead. So that in my view, that give one learning that we should not stick with the things. So we should, if we don't show the attachment with the things, as might be you might be, some if someone you might be reading the Gita, that also says that you don't show the attachment with the things or the people. You should keep moving in your life. So that is very important. So when he sold the ship, then he started job at that merchant shop. So he learned new things, learned the new perspective in the life, and he just bring the new things in that shop also. So that way he continued his journey. And then yesterday we read that he met with the Englishman. He was also searching for that alchemist. So that he's continuing his discussion with that Englishman. And during his journey, Santiago learns from the observing the carva that caravan, where there was a caravans were going in the desert. So that he observed the many people in that carva, and talking with the camel driver, who's who shares his life story about losing everything in a flood but finding a new purpose. The boy begins understanding the universal language. So he learned that everybody learn the thing. We each other know the other's language and how everything is connected. Then Santiago and the Englishman exchange knowledge. Santiago reads the Englishman's alchemy book while the Englishman observe the carver. They exchange the thought. They observe the each other's thing. Then that way they started learning from each other. They discover they have different ways of learning. The Englishman relies on the books while Santiago learns through the observation and experience. So the key themes yesterday we read that reading decision making, how just we need to take the decision in the life and should move ahead. We should not leave the decision on the table. We should take the decision and decide and should move ahead. Decision can be wrong also or right also. So we should take the decision and move into the life. With this, now we will start our today's reading. So, who want to go?
Yes, I will start.
You read na, Anilji first.
Okay, okay. Let me read. Is the screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
The camel driver so seemed not to be very concerned with the threat of war. I am alive, he said to the boy as they ate a bunch of dates one night with no fires and no moon. When I am eating, that's all I think about. If I am on the march, I just concentrate on marching. If I have to fight, I will be just as good as a day to die as other because I don't live in either my past or my future. I am interested only in the present. If you can concentrate always on the present, you will be happy man. You will see that there is life in the desert and that there are stars in the heavens and that tribesmen fight because they are part of the human race. Life will be party for you, a grand festival because life is the moment we are living right now. 2 nights later, as he was ready to bed down, the boy looked for the star. They followed every night. He thought that the horizon was a bit lower than it had been because he seemed to see the stars on the desert itself. It, it is the oasis, said the camel driver. Well, why don't we go there right now? The boy asked. Because we have to sleep. The boy awoke as the sun rose. There in front of him, where the small stars had been the right night before, was an endless row of date palms stretching across the entire desert. We have done it, said the Englishman, who had also awakened early. But the boy was quiet. He was at home with the silence of the desert and he was content just to look at the trees. He still had a long way to go to reach the pyramids, and someday this morning would just be a memory. But this was the present moment, the party the camel driver had mentioned, and he wanted to leave it as he did the lessons of his past and his dreams of the future. Although the vision of the date palms would someday be just a memory, right now it signified shade, water, and refuge from the war. Yesterday the camels groan signaled danger. Now a row of date palms could herald a miracle. This world speaks many languages, the boy thought. The time rushed past, and so do the caravans, thought the alchemist as he watched the hundreds of people and animals arriving at the oasis. People were shouting at the new arrivals. Dust obscured the desert sun, and the children of the oasis were bursting with excitement at the arrival of strangers. The alchemist saw the tribal chief greet the leader of the caravans and converse with him at length. But none of that mattered to the alchemist. He had already seen many people come and go, and the desert remained as it was. He had seen kings and beggars walking the desert sands. The dunes were changed constantly by the wind, yet these were the same sand he had known since he was a child. He always enjoyed seeing the happiness that travelers experience when, after weeks of yellow sand and the blue sky, they first saw the green of the date palms. Maybe God created the desert so that man could appreciate the date trees, he thought. He decided to concentrate on more practical matters. He knew that in the caravans there was a man to whom he was to teach some of his secrets. The omens had told him so. He didn't know the man yet, but his practiced eye would recognize him when he appeared. He hoped that it would be someone as capable as his previous apprentice. I don't know why these things have to be transmitted by word of mouth, he thought. It was not exactly that they were secrets. God revealed his secrets easily to all his creatures. He had only one explanation for this fact. Things have to be transmitted this way because they were made up for the pure life, and this kind of life cannot be captured in pictures or words. Because people become fascinated with pictures and words and wind up forgetting the language of the world. So, Manji, will you take on from this?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you. The boy could not believe what he was seeing. The oasis, rather than being just a well surrounded by a few palm trees, as he had seen once in a geography book, was much larger than many towns back in Spain. There were 300 wells, 50,000 date trees, and innumerable colored tents spread among them. It looks like 1,001 nights, said the Englishman. Scroll, please. They were surrounded by children, curious to look at the animals and people that were arriving. The men of the oasis wanted to know if they had seen any fighting, and the women competed with one another for access to the cloth and precious stones brought by the merchants. The silence of the desert was a distant dream. The travelers in the caravan were talking incessantly, laughing and shouting as if they had emerged from the spiritual world and found themselves once again in the world of people. They were relieved and happy. They had been taking careful precautions in the desert, but the camel driver explained to the boy that oases were always considered to be neutral territories because the majority of the inhabitants were women and children. There were oases throughout the desert, but the tribesmen fought in the desert, leaving the oasis as place of refuge. With some difficulty, the leader of the caravan brought all his people together and gave them his instructions. The group was to remain there at the oasis until the conflict between the tribes was over. Since they were visitors, they would have to share living space with those who lived there and would be given the best accommodations. That was the law of hospitality. Then he asked that everyone, including his own sentinels, hand over their arms to the men appointed by the tribal chieftains. Those are the rules of war, the leader explained. The oasis may not shelter armies or troops. To the boy's surprise, the Englishman took a chrome-plated revolver out of his bag and gave it to the men who were collecting the arms. Why a revolver? He asked. It helped me to trust in people, the Englishman answered. Meanwhile, the boy thought about his treasure. The closer he got to the realization of his dream, the more difficult things became. It seemed as if what the old king had called beginner's luck were no longer functioning. In his pursuit of the dream, he was being constantly subjected to the tests of his persistence and courage. So he would fail to see the signs and omens left by God along his path. God placed them along my path. He had surprised himself with the thought. Until then, he had considered the omens to be things of this world, like eating or sleeping, or like seeking love or finding a job. He had never thought of them in terms of a language used by God to indicate what he should do. Don't be impatient, he repeated to himself. It is like the camel driver said, eat when it is time to eat, and move along when it is time to move along. That first day, everyone slept from exhaustion including the Englishman. The boy was assigned a place far from his friend in a tent with 5 other young men of about his age. They were people of the desert and clamored to hear his stories about the great cities. The boy told them about his life as a shepherd and was about to tell them of his experiences at the crystal shop when the Englishman came into the tent. "I have been looking for you all morning," he said, as he led the boy outside. "I need you to help me find out where the alchemist lives." First, they tried to find him on their own. An alchemist would probably live in a manner that was different from that of the rest of the people at the oasis, and it was likely that in his tent an oven was continuously burning. They searched everywhere and found that the oasis was much larger than they could have imagined. There were hundreds of tents. "We have wasted almost the entire day," said the Englishman, sitting down with the boy near one of the wells. "Maybe we would better ask someone," the boy suggested. The Englishman didn't want to tell others about his reasons for being at the oasis and could not make up his mind. But finally he agreed that the boy who spoke better Arabic than he should do so. The boy approached the woman who had come to the well to fill a goat skin with water. "Good afternoon, ma'am. I am trying to find out where the alchemist lives here at the oasis." The woman said she had never heard of such a person and hurried away. But before she fled, she advised the boy that he had better not try to converse with women who were dressed in black, because they were married women. He should respect tradition. The Englishman was disappointed. It seemed he had made the long journey for nothing. The boy was also saddened. His friend was in pursuit of his personal legend, and when someone was in such pursuit, the entire universe made an effort to help him succeed. That is what the old king had said. He could not have been wrong. "I had never heard of alchemists before," the boy said. "Maybe no one here has either." The Englishman's eyes lit up. "That's it. Maybe no one here. Scroll up, please. Maybe no one here knows what an alchemist is. Find out who it is who cures the people's illnesses." Several women dressed in black came to the well for water, but the boy would speak to none of them, despite the Englishman's assistance. Then a man approached. "Do you know someone here who cure people's illnesses?" the boy asked. "Allah cures our illnesses," said the man, clearly frightened of the strangers. "You are looking for witch doctors?" He spoke some verses from the Quran and moved on. Another man appeared. He was older and was carrying a small bucket. The boy repeated his question. "Why do you want to find that sort of person?" the Arab asked. "Because my friend here has traveled for many months in order to meet with him," the boy said. "If such a man is here at the oasis, he must be the very powerful one," said the old man after thinking for a few moments. "Not even the tribal chieftains are able to see him when they want to, only when he consents. Wait for the end of the war, then leave with the caravan. Don't try to enter into the life of the oasis," he said, and walked away. But the Englishman was exultant. They were on the right track. Finally, a young woman approached who was not dressed in black. She had a vessel on her shoulder, and her head was covered by a veil, but her face was uncovered. The boy approached her to ask about the alchemist. At that moment, it seemed to him that time stood still and the soul of the world surged within him. When he looked into her dark eyes and saw that her lips were poised between a laugh and silence, he learned the most important part of the language that all the world spoke. the language that everyone on earth was capable of understanding in their heart. It was love, something older than humanity, more ancient than the desert, something that exerted the same force whenever two pairs of eyes met, as had their as had theirs here at the well. She smiled, and that was certainly an omen, the omen he had been awaiting without even knowing he was for all his life, the omen he had sought to find with his sheep and in his books, in the crystals and in the silence of the desert. It was the pure language of the world. It required no explanation, just as the universe needs none as it travels through endless time. What the boy felt at that moment was that he was in the presence of the only woman in his life, and that with no need for words, she recognized the same thing. He was more certain of it than of anything in the world. He had been told by his parents and grandparents that he must fall in love and really know a person before becoming committed. But maybe people who felt that way had never learned the universal language. Because when you know that language, it is easy to understand that someone in the world awaits you, whether it is in the middle of the desert or in some great city. And when two such people encounter each other and their eyes meet, the past and the future become unimportant. There is only that moment and the incredible certainty that everything under the sun has been written by one hand only. It is the hand that evokes love and creates a twin soul for every person in the world. Without such love, one's dream would have no meaning. Maktab, thought the boy. The Englishman shook the boy. Come on, ask her. The boy stepped closer to the girl, and when she smiled, he did the same. What is your name? He asked. Fatima, the girl said, averting her eyes. That is what some women in my country are called. It is the name of the Prophet's daughter, Fatima said. The invaders carried the name everywhere. The beautiful girl spoke of the invaders with pride. The Englishman prodded him, and the boy asked her about the man who cured people's illnesses. That is the man who knows all the secrets of the world, she said. He communicates with the genies of the desert. The genies were the spirits of good and evil, and the girl pointed to the south, indicating that it was there the strange man lived. Then she filled her vessel with water and left. Yes, Anjali, you want to continue from here?
Thank you, Suman. Yeah, I'll do that. The Englishman vanished too, gone to find the alchemist. And the boy sat there by the well for a long time, remembering that one day in Tarifa the lavender had brought to him the perfume of that woman, and realizing that he had loved her before he even knew she existed. He knew that his love for her would enable him to discover every treasure in the world. The next day, the boy returned to the well, hoping to see the girl. To his surprise, the Englishman was there looking out at the desert. I waited all afternoon and evening, he said. He appeared with the first stars of evening. I told him what I was seeking, and he asked me if I had ever transformed lead into gold. I told him that was what I had come here to learn. He told me I should try to do so. That's all he said. Go and try. The boy didn't say anything. The poor Englishman had traveled all this way only to be told that he should repeat what he had already done so many times. Please scroll. Yeah. So then try, he said to the Englishman. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start now. As the Englishman left, Fatima arrived and filled her vessel with water. I came to tell you just one thing, the boy said. I want you to be my wife. I love you. The girl dropped the container and the water spilled. I'm going to wait here for you every day. I have crossed the desert in search of a treasure that is somewhere near the pyramids, and for me, the war seemed a curse. But now it's a blessing because it brought me to you. The war is going to end someday, the girl said. The boy looked around him at the date palms. He reminded himself that he had been a shepherd and that he could be a shepherd again. Fatima was more important than his treasure. The tribesmen are always in search of treasure, the girl said, as she had guessed what he was thinking, and the women of the desert are proud of their tribesmen. She refilled her vessel and left. The boy went to the well every day to meet with Fatima. He told her about his life as a shepherd, about the king, and about the crystal shop. They became friends, and except for the 15 minutes he spent with her, each day seemed that it would never pass. When he had been at the oasis for almost a month, the leader of the caravan called a meeting of all the people traveling with him. We don't know when the war will end, so we can't continue our journey, he said. The battles may last for a long time, perhaps even years. There are powerful forces on both sides, and the war is important to both armies. It's not a battle of good against evil. It's a war between forces that are fighting for the balance of power, and when that type of battle begins, it lasts longer than others because Allah is on both sides. The people went back to where they were living, and the boy went to meet with Fatima that afternoon. He told her about the morning's meeting. The day after we met, Fatima said, "You told me that you loved me. Then you taught me something of the universal language and the soul of the word. Because of that, I have become a part of you." The boy listened to the sound of her voice and thought it to be more beautiful than the sound of the wind in the date palms. "I have been waiting for you here at this oasis for a long time. I have forgotten about my past, about my traditions, and the way in which men of the desert expect women to behave. Ever since I was a child, I have dreamed that the desert would bring me a wonderful present. Now my present has arrived, and it's you." The boy wanted to take her hand, but Fatima's hands held to the handles of her jug. "You have told me about your dreams, about the old king and your treasure, and you have told me about omens. So now I fear nothing because it was those omens that brought you to me. And I am a part of your dream, a part of your personal legend, as you call it. That's why I want you to continue toward your goal. If you have to wait until the war is over, then wait. But you have to go. Before then, go in pursuit of your dream. The dunes are changed by the wind, but the desert never changes. That's the way it will be with our love for each other. Maktab, she said, if I am really a part of your dream, you will come back one day. The boy was sad as he left her that day. He thought of all the married shepherds he had known. They had a difficult time convincing their wives that they had to go off into distant fields. Love required them to stay with the people they loved. He told Fatima that at their next meeting. "The desert takes our men from us and they don't always return," she said. "We know that, we are used to it. Those who don't return become a part of the clouds, a part of the animals that hide in the ravines of the water that comes from the earth. They become a part of everything, they become the soul of the word. Some do come back, and then the other women are happy because they believe that their men may one day return as well. I used to look at those women and envy them their happiness. Now I too will be one of the women who wait. I am a desert woman and I am proud of that. I want my husband to wander as free as the wind that shapes the dunes. And if I have to, I will accept the fact that he has become a part of the clouds and the animals and the water of the desert. The boy went to look for the Englishman. He wanted to tell him about Fatima. He was surprised when he saw that the Englishman had built himself a furnace outside his tent. It was a strange furnace, fueled by firewood with transparent flask heating on top. As the Englishman stared out at the desert, his eyes seemed brighter than they had when he was reading his books. "This is the first phase of the job," he said. "I have to separate out the sulfur. To do that successfully, I must have no fear of failure. It was my fear of failure that first kept me from attempting the masterwork. Now I am beginning what I could have started 10 years ago. But I am happy at least that I didn't wait 20 years." He continued to feed the fire, and the boy stayed on until the desert turned pink in the setting sun. He felt the urge to go out into the desert to see if its silence held the answers to his questions. He wandered for a while, keeping the date palms of the oasis within sight. He listened to the wind and felt the stones beneath his feet. Here and there he found a shell and realized that the desert in remote times had been a sea. He sat on a stone and allowed himself to become hypnotized by the horizon. He tried to deal with the concept of love as distant from possession and couldn't separate them. But Fatima was a woman of the desert, and if anything could help him to understand, it was the desert. As he sat there thinking, he sensed movement above him. Looking up, he saw a pair of hawks flying high in the sky. He watched the hawks as they drifted on the wind. Although their flight appeared to have no pattern, it made a certain kind of sense to the boy. It was just that he couldn't grasp what it meant. He followed the movement of the birds, trying to read something into it. Maybe these desert birds could explain to him the meaning of love without ownership. He felt sleepy. In his heart, he wanted to remain awake, but he also wanted to sleep. I'm learning the language of the word, and everything in the word is beginning to make sense to me, even the flight of the hawks, he said to himself. And in that mood, he was grateful to be in love. When you are in love, things make even more sense, he thought. Suddenly, one of the hawks made a flashing dive through the sky, attacking the other. As it did so, a sudden fleeting image came to the boy, an army with its swords at the ready, riding into the oasis. The vision vanished immediately, but it had shaken him. He had heard people speak of mirages and had always seen some himself. They were desires that, because of their intensity, materialized over the sands of the desert. But he certainly didn't desire that an army invade the oasis. He wanted to forget about the vision and return to his meditation. He tried again to concentrate on the pink shades of the desert and its stones, but there was something there in his heart that wouldn't allow him to do so. Always heed the omens, the old king had said. The boy recalled what he had seen in the vision and sensed that it was actually going to occur. He rose and made his way back towards the palm trees. Once again he perceived the many languages in the things about him. This time the desert was safe and it was the oasis that had become dangerous. Does anybody else want to read? Pranavi is there. Okay, I'll continue. The camel driver was seated at the base of a palm tree observing the sunset. He saw the boy appear from the other side of the dunes. An army is coming, the boy said. I had a vision. The desert fills men's heart with visions, the camel driver answered. But the boy told him about the hawks, that he had been watching their flight and had suddenly felt himself to have plunged to the soul of the word. The camel driver understood what the boy was saying. He knew that any given thing on the face of the earth could reveal the history of all things. One could open a book to any page or look at a person's hand. One could turn a card or watch the flight of the birds. Whatever the thing observed, one could find a connection with his experience of the moment. Actually, it wasn't that those things in themselves revealed anything at all. It was just that people looking at what was occurring around them could find a means of penetration to the soul of the word. The desert was full of men who earned their living based on the ease with which they could penetrate to the soul of the word. They were known as seers, and they were held in fear by women and the elderly. Tribesmen were also wary of consulting them because it would be impossible to be effective in battle if one knew that he was fated to die. The tribesmen preferred the taste of battle and the thrill of not knowing what the outcome would be. The future was already written by Allah, and what He had written was always for the good of man. So the tribesmen lived only for the present because the present was full of surprises, and they had to be aware of many things. Where was the enemy's sword? Where was his horse? What kind of blow should one deliver next in order to remain alive? The camel driver was not a fighter and he had consulted with seers. Many of them had been right about what they said, while some had been wrong. Then, one day, the oldest seer he had ever sought out and the one most to be feared had asked why the camel driver was so interested in the future. Well, so I can do things, he had responded, and so I can change those things that I don't want to happen. But then they wouldn't be a part of your future, the seer had said. Well, maybe I just want to know the future so I can prepare myself for what's coming. If good things are coming, they will be a pleasant surprise, said the seer. If bad things are, and you know in advance, you will suffer greatly before they even occur. I want to know about the future because I am a man. The camel driver had said to the seer, and men always live their lives based on the future. The seer was a specialist in the casting of twigs. He threw them on the ground and made interpretations based on how they fell. That day he didn't make a cast. He wrapped the twigs in a piece of cloth and put them back in his bag. I make my living forecasting the future for people, he said. I know the signs of the twigs and I know how to use them to penetrate to the place where all is written. There, I can read the past, discover what has already been forgotten, and understand the omens that are here in the present. When people consult me, it's not that I'm reading the future, I'm guessing at the future. The future belongs to God, and it is only He who reveals it under extraordinary circumstances. How do I guess at the future? Based on the omens at the present. The secret is here in the present. If you pay attention to the present, you can improve upon it. And if you improve on the present, what comes later will also be better. Forget about the future and live each day according to the teachings, confident that God loves His children. Each day in itself brings with it an eternity. The camel driver had asked what the circumstances were under which God would allow him to see the future. Only when he himself reveals it, the God only rarely reveals the future. When he does so, it is for only one reason. It is a future that was written so as to be altered. God had shown the boy a part of the future the camel driver thought. Why was it that he wanted the boy to serve as his instrument? Go and speak to the tribal chieftains, said the camel driver. Tell them about the armies that are approaching. They will laugh at me. They are men of the desert, and the men of the desert are used to dealing with omens. Well, then, they probably already know. They are not concerned with that right now. They believe that if they have to know about something, Allah wants them to know, someone will tell them about it. It has happened many times before, but this time the person is you. The boy thought of Fatima and he decided he would go to see the chiefs of the tribes. Uh, it's 7:40. We decided to stop early, na, Anilji? Should we
Yes,
stop or no?
yes, I think we can stop.
Yes, anybody who wants to share can share, please.
See, okay, shall I start?
Yes.
The session started with Anilji relating this to Bhagavad Gita somewhere, you remember? And here also, when we are ending, it is again saying that future is written. It is Allah has written, God has written, but it is in our hands. So we should live in the present, and that is how we can alter the future also. So what the seer was saying that he can only predict, he can just say that this might happen, but it is not. Everything is in our hands. That is karma. So we started with karma and we are ending with karma. So that was fascinating. Let others share now, then I'll share later.
Like correct one thing, Anjali ji, that the author write na, कि that if someone has seen the future, then it is sure that it is going to change. Either the future is not known, if it is known, then it is going to change. The one thing that author wrote.
Yes. And one more thing, he said that like everyone knows that this is going to happen. And like the tribesmen, they were just carefree and they were not waiting. That time he said, the seer said that you are the messenger, you are the person who will convey. God is sending the messages to other people. That is, the omens are sent through someone. it is not, the omens not happen automatically. It is like either it is a message from someone, or someone is conveying it to the people, or you or we ourselves are observing. So omens are to be understood in, it could come from anywhere. So the boy was a messenger who was conveying that the army is there, someone, and they are at the verge of attack, something like that. So it's like he also said that you are the person who will convey that threat to the tribesmen. So sometimes we, the people, also become an omen.
Yes, correct.
And I really like the language of the word. It is love, and how the nature is conveying everything. The sand also, one more line was very beautiful. Whether it is king or the beggars, the sand remains the same, the desert remains the same. People come and go. Their life, like, obviously they are the people, they won't stay, but the nature stays, the word stays, the soul of the language, the language is always there. The nature is speaking either through the desert. The dunes shift, the winds, they change the dunes. They are shifting daily, each night they are shifting, but then also the sand remains the same, but the people come and go. So we need to understand through the nature how they are conveying what is happening around. The birds, the sand, the palm trees, and if the desert was not there, no one would have valued the dates. They are so tiny thing, and so how the adversity, it gives value to the blessing, and we understand this is a blessing and this is a adverse, or a curse. So everything now, very beautifully, metaphorically, they have explained about the nature, the value of um, adversities, plus how to realize the blessings in disguise, the oasis in the desert. Everything is so nice. How God has created the world. It's amazing.
True, true, very true.
Anybody else? Okay, एक और point है. One more
Wanted
point.
to, I actually wanted to share the same points that Anjali already shared. So yeah.
नहीं, अच्छा ना, yesterday I realized, see, I've missed that, but how that philosopher's stone and the elixir of life, it comes out after the metal is burned for years. Imagine years. They are talking about कि one should go through a rigorous practice, rigorous struggle, then only they shine, they come out as the elixir of life. they वो होता है ना कि diamond निखरता है under lots of pressure and temperature. So that a coal becomes a diamond only when it is kept under a huge pressure and temperature. So that is the same thing here, that we have to go through a rigorous practice or rigorous work, then only we can shine. And I think the analogy here somewhere defines the same thing about the philosopher's stone and elixir of life. What that Englishman is also searching for now. Now he has kept a furnace. He started boiling the lead. So it's all. It has to be burnt. It has to go through that lot of heat and temperature. Then only it will become valuable.
Correct. It's a go and
Obviously.
try.
Go and try yourself. Mhm.
Mansi, you were sharing something?
No, I just had one thing, like the boy is understanding things by looking at the nature and things like that. He is also reading, but he's understanding things through omens and all of that, the soul language of the soul, and he's trying to connect with everything around him. And I felt like the Englishman is only busy with the theories. Is what I just felt as we were reading. So is busy right from the book. He's trying to create that gold and all of that. So he's wanting to learn. He's curious, but he's only like very keen on. We have people like that, right? Both ways. Like some people are more into people, and they will learn from the surroundings and by interacting with people and all. But some wants to learn from the books and all. So I just had this realization.
Yeah, same I was going to say, but Mansi, you have shared that the boy has now become expert in reading the universal language, the love language, and he's connecting with the nature's imageries, whatever he sees. When he sees the hawks and he sees the girls, he immediately reads the love language. And the second thing that was stressed here today, it was being in the present. Whatever is in our hand, that is being in the present. Rest Anjali has covered all the points, I think. Yeah,
Uh, yeah, one more point is there कि we should value the adversity because it teaches us the value. Appreciate the challenge, it makes you more stronger.
Correct.
Sunita ji, yeah, Pranavi ji, who is ever is iPhone. You want to share something?
Yeah, good morning to all. You people have covered everything, and still I'm exploring ki what else is there. And I don't know. Listening to all this, I felt that even in my life, how should I take the omens in my life? So there will be so many hints given by the universe. So by seeing this, the way the boy is thinking, maybe I got a hint for myself also ki how to observe and take the positive signs from the universe towards our goal. And we should fix our goal in such a way that that should be day in and day out, and that at that instant only we can see all this kind of positive omens which has been given by God. Yeah, thank you all.
yeah, today one more thing was there. The boy got distracted after meeting with the girl. He was again thinking of becoming the shepherd again if he married this girl. But that girl reminded her today of his destination, of the search he was into. First, he should do that. Rest, uh, she tells about the culture that here desert women, they all are like that, that when they get married, their husbands, they are in search of like their personal legends type, and they accept the fact whether they come back or not, or they become part of the cloud this way. That was also very beautiful.
And correct, Sumanji, that this shows ki that the whatever the distraction he was getting, the whole universe, the one saying of this book, now the whole universe conspired to achieve your dream. So that way, the all the surrounding and people, even though sometimes he was distracted, but the all the surrounding or people that the way the things were framing like this way that he was the everyone was pushing him towards his dream. So that was happening.
Yeah, very true.
Wow, this was beautiful. Yeah, very, very beautiful insight. In fact, even I had this thought that when our dream is bigger than anything else, and when the right person in our life will never deprive us or stop us from going towards our dream. So that was one thought that came. So that's how he also knows that she's the right girl, because she actually encourages and do not think of herself, but she is very much stronger, I would say, to allow him to go to his dream and do not stop him in the process. So that's beautiful.
And it was the belief, Mansi, behind this, that she said even if they don't come back, their husbands, those who don't come back, they live in the clouds or they live in the animals around. So they think that they are somewhere near only. Even if they don't come back, they are near. जो हमारे आत्मा की बात होती है ना कि somewhere we find them in,
Yeah.
either they are in the stars, they are in the clouds. So they are so daring कि okay, this is life, this is exactly life. You have to go in search of something, and even if you don't come back, we know you are here with us. That is the confidence they have, and after living in such an adversity, they are so full of I mean positivity. This should be called the positivity, that they are not afraid of anything, of afraid of losing anything. They just say that this is the life, live yourself, live the life.
Yeah, very true. They're conditioned that way.
Yes.
Sorry, I joined late. Who are conditioned that way? Mansi and Anjali, whom, if I can know.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. So we were
Good.
talking about Santiago and the girl. He met a girl, Fatima, in the oasis, and they fell in love. And but the thing was that they say that husbands, when many times when the husband go out in search of food or whatever, because desert is a risky place, and many times they don't come back. So the girls are conditioned, or the wives are conditioned in a manner that they think they are somewhere around us, either in the clouds or in the stars or in the animals or in the nature, but they exist, they are there. So they should not stop from going ahead, they should not stop their pursuit of whatever things they are looking for. So that is how they are conditioned to live in that adverse environment.
Thank you, thank you. I believe this.
Yes, Atma
Mm.
की तरह yeah, they were, मतलब we are somewhere connecting it with Bhagavad Gita also कि आत्मा is there ना, कि it is
Mm.
हमारे पास एक guiding soul रहता है, और it is always there helping us or guiding us.
That
So
is,
Mm.
that
we are
is
the
that.
part of the universe. All
They
universe is
are.
within us.
Actually, yeah, this talking about that, this the language of the word. The nature is speaking to us in every form, in every way they are talking, they are conveying their message to us. So we should understand that language. And the language which connects everyone is love. The love is the ancient, the oldest language of nature.
I
So it
agree.
was all about the language of the word.
Book, I was reading these few pages. They say the fourth thing, na first is we feel four obstacles. We are impossible, love, and fear of the defeat. The fourth one I was searching, which is the fourth one. This is in the author's note.
Fear of success is also that is also given in this book.
Okay, that may be fourth, fear of success, because first is impossible, love, fear of the defeat. Hmm.
Many people know they just give up when the success arrives, when they achieve what they want. That time they are on the verge of giving up, and they don't realize that this is actually success, and this is what I have been looking for. So that is the thing, that they are afraid of getting that success, and it stops them whether they will achieve or not. That speculation is earlier there, the fear of achieving, but then when it arrives, that time how to receive it, they are not ready to do that. Maybe because too much of hardships, they make them weak, or they don't realize, or they think that okay, maybe I was in a wrong pursuit. So that fear is there. That is the kind of obstacle that stops.
Very true, very true.
What I have realized is many a times fear of failure is mostly an excuse, but actually the behind it it's the fear of success.
This is what I read in the book of Mountain is You too. Same concept goes ahead with the Mountain is You.
Yeah.
Mm. Any other shares?
From these four, I try to memorize four obstacles. We have a famous company, ILFS. So I is for impossible, L is for love, F is a fear of defeat, and S is a fear of success. If these are the four obstacles, author has been talking. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. It was wonderful share, Rajkumar sir. Good morning, sir. And Sujata ji, Rajesh ji, anybody else wants to share something? So now we are good to go. And today we had beautiful learning about the karma and futures, the universal language of love. So many key points living in the present. There were so many key lies and learning notes. Thank you, every for sharing that beautiful insights and reading for us. Now we will meet tomorrow. Thank you for. Now we will meet on Monday.
1 minute. I just wanted to know whether Devestri is on call because she joined yesterday. She is in our 6:45 WhatsApp group. No, I
No,
think
no,
she is
I
not,
don't. We
not
don't
there.
see
Yeah,
anyone by that name here. Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we all will meet on Monday. Wishing everybody a great weekend. Make your day amazing. Bye for now.
Yeah. Wish you
Thank
all a
you
very
so
happy
much.
weekend. Also,
Thank you.
I'll stop with the recording, Pallavi, and I'll assign you the host so you can take the notes and all, and I will leave.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.